We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. Today we celebrate Good Friday. We recall that we had been separated from God, for our ancestors had turned away from the path of salvation, and yet love has overcome this separation of sin and death, for God himself has become incarnate. God himself has taken away the separation that we now experience and has taken it upon himself so that we can be reconciled to God and reconciled to one another. This morning I was feeling a bit sorry for myself. In the United States, this week has been a very busy week for many of us in the financial sector because of April 15th, because of tax season coming to a close. And this morning I was feeling sorry for myself that I have not had that time to spend on Holy Week as much as I would like, wanting to grow closer to God. This morning, as I was thinking these thoughts, I was outside working in my garden. I was planting a number of seeds in order to have a harvest later on. And as I was thinking about what I was doing, I was thinking about the mystery of what we celebrate today. I was thinking about those words of Jesus that unless a single grain of wheat dies, it has no life. I'm planting individual seeds in the ground, and as a result, the seeds themselves don't seem to have any life. They're going into the ground just as the body of one person went into the tomb. It doesn't seem spectacular at all. But through faith, we know something is going to happen. God is at work. And as Jesus goes into the tomb, we know already through faith that his victory has been accomplished, that though death entered the world, Jesus experienced death so that death itself can die. Where, O death, is your victory? Where, O death, is your sting? How can you think that you can put the author of life to death? It cannot happen. And I was thinking about that necessity of discipleship, that Jesus is the first fruits of those who have been raised. That in one sense, as we're planting individual seeds in the ground, we are showing our own faith in the promise of what it will mean to rise again. Death itself has been destroyed through the victory of Jesus Christ. We live in a world marked with suffering, marked with death, marked with alienation, and yet we know this is not what God intended at the beginning, and not what God has intended through the reconciliation offered to us by Jesus Christ. Today is truly a day of hope. Today we recognize that death itself has been put to death. As we go and as we journey through our life, may we be people of faith, people who plant seeds, people who recognize God's kingdom already here at work, even in the midst of suffering and death. Jesus can cry out, "It is finished." Why? Because everything has been given to us. Jesus is giving us the gift of the Holy Spirit. Jesus is giving us the gift of his Father. Jesus is giving us the gift of his very life, of his very self. Jesus is giving us the gift of immortality. And through faith, we recognize the work of Jesus wasn't simply one man dying on the cross. It was an invitation that just as he is teacher and master, no disciple is greater than one's teacher. We too have to pick up our own cross and follow Jesus. Sometimes I think that can be very scary in our lives. The cross seems too big and we think, how can I carry this? And we become overwhelmed. But notice, Jesus doesn't even carry his own cross by himself in the Synoptic Gospels. Instead, a Cyrenian comes, Simon, who goes and helps Jesus on that journey. When Jesus sent the disciples out, he sent them 2 by 2. I think that's an important symbolism because Jesus recognizes discipleship isn't just something individually, but it's something that we're to experience on that journey of faith with other people. We need other people to sustain us. We need other people to give us assistance. We need other people to challenge us and to help us. Today, as we celebrate Great Friday, help us to recognize the cost of our salvation, that God has held nothing back. God has given us his very life, and the author of life is put to death, not for God's own sake, but for our sake, that we may experience the life that he intended us to have from the very beginning. Today is a great day. Today is the day of salvation. Salvation was costly, but this is because of how God has truly loved us. Help us, God, to love one another. Help us to pour out our own selves as you have poured yourself out for our salvation. Help us to work for the salvation of other people. Help us to recognize and proclaim so that other people may be reconciled, so that other people may have those moments of conversion, so that they may be with you today on this wonderful day of salvation.